Welcome back to another episode of Toxiris Discovers. Today, we got 3 projects suggested by myself and 4 projects suggested by the community. Let's get right into it.
It's the gang, we done came on. The gang.
As always, we starting off with the projects I picked for myself. This time, it's just 3 pretty short projects. Well, 2 pretty short ones and 1 longer one. I'm going to start off with Heavy is the Head by Ransom. If you haven't heard of Ransom, he's more of the lyrical type of rapper. He dropped a couple projects in 2021. This is the first and only project I've heard from him. I've heard him on Russ's new album, Chom 2. That's why I knew this man can spit. And I also heard Sean C say very positive things about him. So I was like, yeah, I'll check him out. And it honestly was worth it. I think the production is great. I think the rapping skills are obviously given. While I don't think the lines are anything outstanding or anything that blew me out of my chair, it is a very solid 10-track project and definitely worth a listen. These 2 were probably my favorite tracks.
Success, that's how you punish them. These people sleeping on you, just fluff the pillows to comfort them. My brother always told me they get broker deals. I'm known to kill, so I got no appeal. Plus I've been around for the whispers. I know some shit that I won't reveal.
And overall, I would give this project probably a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but it still has a couple of things it could improve on. Not really the production though, because that was great. And the flow was great as well. And then we got Fortunate by Cozz or Cozz or however you say that name. Also, the first project I ever heard from him. I don't know, it released someday. This is more like an EP, has only 7 tracks. The highlights are definitely the great intro called also Fortunate, and the great outro called Cry.
My life on the edge. I'm surprised I'm alive when I prayed. He heard every word I said. I look good, but I'm not okay. When you living in the hood, where them shots gon' spray. When your house not a home.
These 2 tracks are by far the best in my opinion. And overall, it's a pretty solid EP. I think the topics he covers are really, really interesting. If you listen to Fortunate or Cry, you will notice very, very quickly what he thinks of the hood and of ghetto life and gangbanging and all that shit. Listen to those 2 tracks or listen to the whole EP. It's definitely worth its time. I would give the project overall also a 7 out of 10. As the third project, we have Vory by Vory. I've heard this project like a couple weeks ago, and I still have a couple of those tracks in my playlist, and I still think it's absolutely great. I think why I got into Vory is obviously his contributions on Kanye's new album Donda. If you have heard Jonah, if you have heard a couple other of the tracks, No Child Left Behind, then you know what I'm talking about. This man was one of the best features on that album, while being probably one of the most unknown people on that album. I think it's his debut project, while being released in 2020, already shows what he was capable of doing. Now, I don't think his performances on this project hold up with the performances he had on the Kanye album, though I still think they are very good and very unique.
Cut all my ties with you. It's like I'm never seeing eye to eye with you. Conversation. Wish I can call my dog, be in heaven now. How the fuck I missed that call? I know you hear me now.
He just has a pretty unique style and also a very, very unique voice and delivery. So overall, I would give this 8 out of 10. Now, we finally get into the community suggestions. The first one being No Volume by 1508 Mutebaby. Suggested, as always, if you got some obscure, weird suggestions by somebody that's signed to a bigger rapper, Zhao. Alright. So this project is, well, I've said these words way too often. It's pretty standard. It has on a couple tracks interesting production, honestly. It's not as bad as it could be or as bad as I think most projects in that lane are. Because, for example, the intro and another track, I enjoyed a lot.
I can never sell my soul. Young street nigga, I'm tryna go build. Journey come from hot box, swiping hoes and shank. Damn, young nigga stuck in the street. I see it ain't no love here. Nah, it ain't no love here. Nah.
See, these 2 were just basically my favorite tracks. I think overall the project doesn't really hold up. It's not really it wasn't really worth my time in my opinion. Like 47 minutes of more or less the same thing repeated again and again. I don't know. He can probably do better. As a signee of 21 Savage, I hope that 21 maybe tells him how to properly flow or how to have more interesting things while still talking about the same topic. Overall, I would give it a 5.5/6 out of 10. It's solid, but it's just not really special at all. Then we got Ghetto Gospel by Rod Wave, suggested by Misha. Probably said that name wrong too. It's probably Misha. I don't know. I'm not good at that. Fuck it. As some of you might know, I'm not the biggest fan of Rod Wave just because I think his delivery after quite some time is really, really tiring and really boring. On this project, that's kind of different, honestly. Like, I've heard his latest project dropped in 2021, and that honestly was hard to get through, and I ranked it hard to rank. I wasn't really going into this album with the highest expectations, but actually, some of the tracks were really good. I mean, I already knew Cuban Links is a great track because that was a massive hit. But besides that, I've also found a couple tracks that I really enjoyed. My favorites are probably these two.
And I don't want no more love, I feel it's poison. Late at night I can't sleep cause I hear voices. Wake up in the morning, hit my knees and I pray, because he finally made a way.
And honestly, overall, it's a pretty solid melodic hood rap album. I think it's honestly it's the best Rod Wave album I've heard, and it can hold up with a couple of the projects in that segment, and I really enjoy that segment. So overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's really good especially for Rod Wave, who usually has a pretty boring delivery in my opinion. Then the second to last project is
Less Than 3 to the Power of 2
by Destroy Lonely, suggested by Kieran Cartwright. As always with the project suggested by the man Kieran Cartwright, this is a bit more obscure, a bit more weird. Not trying to offend anybody, but like, let's just say it's a bit more experimental. Though I gotta say I enjoyed this one more than some of the other projects in that field. Some of the production was especially better, and most of the time, not all the time, the flow was more on point in my opinion.
Damn, ho, you might be right. I'm ranking wax, then I'm saying they tight. Yeah, I keep some racks and I'm real nice. Yeah, me and my bitch, I want my bro, we smoking though. Yeah, I want my bro and he poke me up. Yeah, I'm with this bitch and she cool as fuck. Yeah.
Because some of the time, like I think on a 2 to 3 tracks, the rapper kind of lost his flow and went too fast or too slow, which is really annoying in my opinion. But overall, it still is pretty solid. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. The last project. I already posted this on my IG story 1 or 2 weeks back because I already listened to it. Pinata by Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, suggested by the man, the myth, the legend, PJ Gameplay. What can I say about this project? It's absolutely fantastic. This is the first time on this series, or, well, the first time I'm this close to giving an album a 10 out of 10. Because I honestly couldn't name anything about this project I would like to change. The production is outstanding, is absolutely great. The flow is fantastic. Some of the bars, some of the storytelling is great. And I'm honestly thinking I can stand here on my 2 feet and give this album a 10 out of 10. It's hard to pick, but these are probably my 2 favorite tracks.
Sent a couple zeros, money on my day pay, paying off the COs, smoking on the gateway, word around the then get the fuck up off the toilet stool. Been behind my tennis, I commenced to take these boys to school. Don't drive no yellow bus, but I got mayonnaise.
We got the first 10 out of 10 in Toxiris Discovers. We coming back. I'm trying to do my best on the editing part. I hope y'all enjoyed that new intro I got. Shout out to the man who made it. Link to him in the description. Thank y'all for watching. Have a great one. Enjoy your Sunday.
Remember back then, all them hoes ain't want me. Now I'm ballin', all them same hoes on me. Mama told me that this came with the money and the motherfucking fame. Even though I feel the same, I'm that nigga now. I'm that nigga now. I'm that nigga now. I'm that nigga now.